So, bro, JPow said something good today, and the markets are green. Everything is ripping. The stocks that I care about are all up. It's a hockey stick. And so I guess everything is good in the investment land. So on the day when JPow speaks, I decided to sleep in and catch some sleep because I haven't been getting enough. And so I wake up at 11, do my thing, then look at the phone, and everything is green. So I haven't seen yet what he actually said, but everything is looking great. So let's look at that thing together. So before we begin, bro, we finally got to 3,000 subs on YouTube. So thank you everyone who followed me, who subscribed. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you do subscribe to get the latest updates. And bro, smash the like button, help me get through the Google YouTube algorithm. I think they're shadow banning my videos anyway, so I would really appreciate if you smash the like button, comment in the section, in the comments below if you have Misti, if what you think about the things we're going to talk about in this video. And finally, this video is not a financial advice. I am just voicing my opinions. Let's begin. In this video, I want to talk about Misti. I'm not going to do a full projection for this month or for this declaration cycle that's happening in 4 days, but we will talk about Misti because I made a post a couple days ago about the Misti moves, Misti management moves, and there was like a little common thing going on. So I want to talk about that, but let's quickly take a look at what JPow said. Okay, there you go. He opens doors to September rate cuts. Awesome. So today, actually, S&P 500 made an all-time high right after that announcement. So we look at SPY over here, 646.50. That was a all-time high on S&P 500. Okay, so let's talk about Misti, MicroStrategy, and why I want to make this video. So first, let me give you a little bit of a background. Okay, so a couple days ago, when was this? Doesn't matter. August 20th. So that was 2 days ago precisely. Yeah. So in the evening, I post this on X. By the way, bro, if you don't follow me on X, I think you should. So it's at DRIPCalc on X. I'll put a link in the description for this video. But basically, I look at their trades for that day, and let's take a look at trades together. So here in the yieldmax tracker, you can actually look at days, trades for different days. And if you have a pro subscription, you can also look at the summary of the trades. But anyway, let's zoom in. So what did they do is they bought back the 370 call expiring this Friday, and they sold the 345 call. And the net income they made on this was $1.88. So they did 2,271 contracts. Okay, and I basically said, like, this is beyond stupid. Okay, I didn't say those words, but I was super upset about it. And my logic is basically, if MicroStrategy rips, okay, that dollar, I didn't do math correctly as always, but that $1.88 will turn into a huge loss. That was my logic, because if the market rips, if the MicroStrategy rips, this called, it will be deep underwater. And so what happens today is MicroStrategy rips. In the morning it was 360. Okay, and let's take a look at the price of that 345 call right now. Right now it is at $10. In the morning it was at 15. And just to give you some perspective, I did a quick math, and so we don't know when they're gonna roll the calls for this week. Sometime I would presume they do it before lunch, then they go eat some shawarma, and that's it. But right now they're basically down $7 per share on this thing. If they did it 2 hours ago after the rate cut, not decision, but whatever, after JPow spoke, because look, let's take a look at MicroStrategy chart. So pretend you are a Misti manager, okay, and you look at the charts. You know today JPow speaks, and by the way, I gotta give them kudos, bro. On one side, they did this dumb move with the option selling a couple days ago, but on the other hand, if we look at their holdings so far, they only sold calls on a third of their position, okay. And yesterday, actually, so even better, they actually bought back 3,320 calls at 355 strike, and they paid 59 cents for them. So today, those will likely expire worthless. But right now, you don't know that, you know. So still, MicroStrategy can close up at, say, 360, 370. You don't know that. It might still pump today. And the 355 call right now costs $2.48. Okay, and an hour ago it was closer to $7. So kudos to them. They bought it back, but still, and another, like, you know, compliment. They only, like I said, sold calls on a third of their positions. Short calls, the rest of them are uncovered, and so right now they can sell them and make some money. But still, I was kind of upset. You know, let's go back to the trades over here on the 20th. No, that's all. So they made $1.88 for those calls, and then they also sold 350s and they bought back the 370s. Okay, so on the 350s they made $1.55, well, $1.45. So, and those are now underwater also. 350s cost right now $6. So I am like, why would you do that? You know, JPow is gonna speak. You know, MicroStrategy can reap, and even if you don't make that money, you know, like, let's look over here. For this day, they made $500,000. Okay, but now they're down about 4 or 5 million on those trades. Why? And also, this only added 1 cent to the P&L for the cycle. Okay, it was at 354 and went up to 355. That was on Tuesday. It wasn't in the screenshot, but anyway, it was so insignificant. Why would you make the trade? Just wait 2 days, wait for JPow to speak. If you don't make that money, fine, you're gonna sell the calls for next week, for the August 25 or August 29. But like, why make this trade and put yourself in a situation? Let's go to our handy dandy calculator. So again, pretend you're a Misti manager and you look at MicroStrategy chart and it's like 1120 and it's pumping to 360. So now you're $15 underwater on the 345 call and you're $10 underwater on the 350 calls. And you're like, what if this keeps on reaping? Let me close this position and get out of it and see where the chips may fall next week. Okay, and so it is very likely they actually close that call for a net loss of about 3,400,000, give or take. We will find out later today, but that's approximately the number. And the 350s we have 13,000 contracts. Bro, that's a much higher loss. Okay, so let's do 13,000 times 100. That's number of shares, and let's say they closed it at $10. Okay, $13 million loss. So that's why I was so pissed. But then, like, there are some people who are just, you know, kind of rigid in their thinking. So I had a little beef with a guy on X, and no name calling, nothing like that, bro. Just I'm more upset at people's rigidity, because like sometimes a couple months ago I posted that alt is not, you know, it's doing great, it's paying the dividends and the stock is going up, but they're losing money on their trades. And if we look at rolling P&L, bro, for the year they're down 5 cents for the year. And that's because this week they kind of made some money on the puts because market was going down. But now their puts, I don't know if they closed them or not. I didn't analyze Ulti. But basically, I said, bro, Ulti is not that, you know, as great as it seems. There's underlying there are underlying issues. They're not making money on the options. Look at these 2 red columns over here. This is option P&L and options P&L per share. Most of these weeks, most of the cycles, they're red. So, you know, and over here on the right, we have the stock P&L and stock P&L per share. And that's kind of red and green, you know, a mix of the two. And the stock trades actually make up for all the losses on the options. Anyway, so I just kind of, it's hard for me to take the rigidity of some folks, and they were telling me, well, no, Misti is great or Ulti is great, you just don't know what you're talking about. They're questioning my math. Then I made a video that proving the math. But anyway, so I started having a brawl with this, well, not a brawl, just a little argument with this guy Roomba, and basically at some point he's like, if you don't like it, just sell and you know, get out if you don't like the management decision. I'm like, bro, why you telling me to sell? Like, if I'm in it, I have my reasons. You don't know my situation. Maybe I'm underwater and I don't want to take a tax loss. Maybe it's the opposite. I've made so much money on it, I don't want to pay the taxes. Maybe I just want to continue making money on it. Like, why do you tell people to sell if I point out a legit issue? And today, that legit issue may cost us about $20 million. And that's a lot of money. And for what? For making, what, 500,000? You know, that's how much they made on those trades, $500,000. And now they stand to lose $20-30 million for making $1.88 per share. Okay, and so then, like, basically at the end he just blocked me, and then he said, this is completely childish, says my calculators are 90% wrong. Okay, cool. This just reminds me of, like, you know, an old Russian anecdote. So I pulled up this picture. So this guy, he's in the ICU, and these 2 male nurses come over and they start rolling his bed, and he's like, where are we going? And they're like, we're going to the morgue. He's like, guys, maybe we should instead go to the, I don't know, operating room. And they're like, no, doctor said to the morgue, we're going to the morgue. And so this is kind of like the way people operate, you know, like they just, you know, the management is always right and we stand by them 100%. And so I'm like, I guess he got pissed at me because I called him a groupie. I said, you're like a groupie. Management can never do anything wrong. Anyway, so I'm not pissed at Roomba. I actually hope he, you know, unblocks me, follows me again, but whatever. I mean, I'm sure he's a good guy. Just like, I'm mostly pissed about the managerial decision on the side of Misti managers about doing these trades. Now, of course, they have to produce the results, but come on, guys. I mean, and you know, they know it because they only sold short calls on a third of their synthetic position. So they know things are coming, and they know they're making very little money with these calls. So why? And then yesterday they actually closed one of them over here, the 350. By the way, 355s were the much safer ones. They should have closed the 345s and 350s, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm kind of still pissed, still upset. Yeah, Misti is going up today, and it's great and everything. And bro, as I was saying, like, I bought a bunch of leaps on Misti. I bought some January and some April, and I hope they print a lot. Right now they're only up $328, and then I was down $200, so up like, you know, $500. That's nothing. I hope they'll print much heavier down the line, because I think Bitcoin will pump. By the way, bro, Ethereum today is up 11%. So, and Bitcoin is still $1.16, you know. And what's interesting, let me show you something. So if we look at this is a website called Strategy Tracker, and it tracks MicroStrategy and some other stocks. And there's a lot of things they track, but I just selected the NAV premium. So bro, check this out. Even like during liquidation day, right over here, the NAV premium on MicroStrategy was 1.77, okay? And then by the end of April, it went up to like 2.25. And right now we're sitting at 1.5 NAV premium. So my thinking is like, if people are still buying into MicroStrategy, you know, their premium is premium to the Bitcoin. So basically, for every dollar that you spend, you could buy 1.5 times more times Bitcoin as you get in the MicroStrategy. So for example, if Bitcoin is now $100,000, if you buy MicroStrategy, you're essentially paying $150,000 for Bitcoin. That's how it works. So this is the NAV premium to their Bitcoin holdings. But anyway, it is the lowest it has been in a year. Okay, right before this this announcement by JPow. And if we look at all time, there is, first of all, I noticed this trend. So from 2022, when everything was crashing, it's kind of sloping up. So the lowest point of the NAV is kind of sloping up. Unfortunately, I can't draw lines here, but if you look at it on mobile, you can see a clear pattern where like there is a base of support for the NAV premium where it drops. And then over here, a year ago, we're seeing a stupid like 3x premium, bro. It's completely insane. So let's go back to 1 year. So a year ago, we're sitting at 2.29, okay? And then by the election time, after the election, it went up as high as almost 4x NAV premium. So anyway, my point is that, you know, MSTR is super cheap right now. You know, it's super undervalued relative to its previous valuations, okay? Because it's not just the price, it's also like how much Bitcoin they have and the premium to the Bitcoin. And you know, it's cheap. And so like selling those stupid 345 calls is just completely ridiculous. And so that's why I was upset. Yeah, I hope this guy, Roomba, doesn't take it personally. I just was like, you know, bro, you just saying things that don't make sense and you just blindly follow, you know, management can never do anything wrong. So anyway, yeah, that was just like my kind of venting at Misti management. But I mean, like, bro, if you held this thing since the beginning, you made a crap ton of money, and so good for you. Anyway, so yeah, it will cost us some money, but the good thing is MSTR is up. Hopefully for next week they sell somewhere in the like 380 range, not 365 that they'll probably do. 370 maybe. Yeah, I mean, I understand that they probably rolled at the top when they see this thing keeps climbing up, and then, you know, like, oh man, it's gonna cost us even more. Let's close this and go eat our lunch. Yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, bro, here are the estimates for next week. I'm not doing estimate video right now. I'm going to do that once everything sort of closes, especially for Misti, because like there's a lot of things that will change later today when the data comes out, because again, they are still sitting on 2/3 of their position uncovered. So they'll sell a bunch of covered calls, they'll bring in a bunch of money. So this number will change, and also this number will change by the end of the day, because it is based on the options prices over here in what they reported. It's not based on the current option price, because right now those change so fast. I cannot implement, you know, option repricing every 5 seconds. So we go based on the data they supply at the end of the day. And so the loss per share, the synthetic loss per share, will significantly reduce. Will not go down to 0, but we have a whole month until that happens. On some of them, even 2 months. And I think MicroStrategy will recover. That's why I was buying those calls. My thinking is that Bitcoin usually goes up in the fall. And once we get out of this August, September volatility, you know, before the holidays, markets usually start pumping. So that's why I was buying the calls. I'm pretty, not confident, but I'm not worried about Misti. If anything, like, you know, it will just continue paying down. It could just like continue sliding down in terms of share price. By the way, bro, a couple days ago, we hit an absolute bottom. It was 1610. That was the lowest price for Misti. Today it recovered. I think we're going to have an end of the year pump, and then I'll see what I'm gonna do with my position. Maybe sell it, maybe like sell, you know, if it pumps to say $30 again, I'm just gonna sell it the money covered calls, collect a bunch. And that's what I did last year. I sold at the end of the year, I sold July covered calls for like $45. Collected $2-3 per share just on the covered call. So yeah, I'm not worried about Misti. I think it will do fine, and I think MicroStrategy will do fine. I was just a little bit upset about this move. By the way, bro, this is not a financial advice, just my thinking out loud. Okay, thanks for watching. So on Sunday I will be making a weekly predictions and also do a weekly recap video. I will soon add the weekly recap thing to our email. And so yeah, so thanks for watching, bro. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. Let me know what you think about this move by the Misti management. If you are holding, if you sold out. By the way, OT is up today also, so if you held through this, you know, hell week, good for you. We're still not out of the woods. You know, OT could still go down to $5. It's just the nature of the beast. It is what it is, and hopefully everything just keeps pumping, and we're all going to become millionaires. Okay, bro, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.